Tell me, why was Kilmarnock the right fit for you?
Well, I think when I left St Johnstone, it was the right time for me. I had made that decision that I needed a break, and it's 9-10 months in. I think timing's everything. You can't always determine what jobs are available, but once I'd spoken to Billy and the board and James, I got a really good feel about the club, and I'm just glad that they seemed to like what I was saying and how I felt I could take the club forward, if they give me the job. So it was an easy decision in the end, and there were obviously a factor in that was that I wanted to get back in, but most importantly, it seemed to be the right club and the right fit for me as well.
How did you find that time out of management, and how excited are you to be back in it?
Well, it didn't go obviously the way I wanted with COVID. Didn't get. I'd planned a few trips abroad, to clubs abroad, and a couple of Premier League clubs, to help with my development as a coach. Was able to do some CPD work, but in the main, I've been gardening, golfing when I was allowed to golf, or when we were allowed to golf, and doing a lot of walking. Apparently, I've walked the length of the Sahara Desert since the time I've been off. So it's done me good, because I've lost a lot of weight, got fit, and done a lot of reading, done a lot of watching box sets, and relaxed as best I could in difficult circumstances, which are the same for everybody. But the main thing is I feel fresh and really round to go.
What have you seen from the players, having been in training with them the past couple of days? What do you see about the morale?
The 2 sessions that we've had, quality's been outstanding, and you wonder, how they've got so many few points. But having looked at a lot of the games, they have made individual errors and at crucial times lost, late goals and lost leads. But the overall quality of the squad and what I've seen, and I knew most of the players anyway, it just reaffirmed my opinion of them. They've been excellent. Their work rate and the quality and the attitude of them has been really good. And the club have made it easy for me to come in and just get on with my job.
What's been the biggest problem for Kilmarnock, do you think, Tommy, just assessing everything?
Well, in simple terms, they've lost too many games, and that's not, if you look at it, 17 losses, they've only had 3 draws in that, and that they have probably not become as difficult to beat as what they've been in the past. The squad has changed a little bit, but I think they've lost goals too many times, too easily to individual errors. I don't see where teams have really cut them open and took them apart, and they basically have conceded goals at bad times and not reacted possibly in the right way. So hopefully I can come in and give the players, the one thing about a new manager being appointed is it now gives them clarity who's going to take them forward to the end of the season. So all that uncertainty will be out of the way, and we can get working with them and get them feeling good about themselves.
There's a lot of players out of contract at the end of the season. Does that give them an extra spur to try and earn a new contract under a new manager?
It should give any player it's out of contract at any club in the circumstances that we're in at the minute regarding COVID, where clubs are under pressure throughout the world, that you are fighting for your livelihood in terms of either at the club you're at or to impress somebody else. So that isn't, I knew that 17 were out of contract, so that wasn't anything that deterred me from taking the job. And seeing the way they've trained, certainly, I'm pleased that I've made the decision to come here.
You enjoy great success at St Johnstone. Can you do the same at Kilmarnock?
That's the aim. I told Billy that when I spoke to him. You know, he knew what I did at St Johnstone. The difference being, and no disrespect to St Johnstone, because I love the club. I mean, if Kilmarnock had the sustained success that St Johnstone have had over the last decade, you know, Kilmarnock are I've got, I think, a bigger catchment area. They would fill 3 sides of the ground every week. So that'll be the aim. But that's medium to long term. Short term aim is just to win the next game and then move on to the next one and get us up the table as far as we can.
You've never finished below 8th in the table as the St Johnstone manager. Is 8th or above a possibility for Kelly this season?
Whilst there's 33 points to play for, we can look up the table. But my message since I've come in is, you know, the team above us, and concentrate on that. You know, it's very important, the terminology and how you're perceiving you're going to go forward. And I just want to look up. How far we can get this season, that'll be determined to how well we do and how well the players respond.
Are there any players out there that you could bring in who are out of contract with anyone else, or is that a non-starter?
That's an option, and we're looking hard with that. You know, working alongside, you know, James. He did tell me that the board had said that if we could find someone, I've got some reservations about it, but so it would need to be someone that probably has just been released in January. It's no good looking at someone that's been out of work for 4, 5, 6 months. And that market is very small, even in these times. So it's something that we're working on, and James will be working on in the background. So the simple message is yes, if we can find someone, but that would not mean or not guarantee that we could find someone.
Tommy, you said that you didn't have any time to go down to Premier League clubs, or, you know, perhaps expand your coaching mind in your time off. Does that mean that we're going to see a similar style of football, similar brand of football that you brought up to Perth?
Right. Depends what brand you're perceived that we played. Because there's been a lot of perception and about how we played, how I managed, how I didn't bring young players through. When you look at St Johnstone's squad at the minute, it's probably 8, 9 that have brought through. There's always targeted that didn't play young players. What Kilmarnock will get is a team that will be organised, a team that want to play good football, play high tempo football. And that's what wins football matches. And I want to get a winning mentality into the squad.
Tommy, how much of an advantage is it to Kilmarnock for a manager like you to come in who knows the league, like you say, knows a lot of the squad already, and having that sense of urgency to really have to hit the ground running?
Well, I think that was something that when I spoke to to Billy and James, that I thought would be a benefit to the club, and obviously they've seen that, because somebody coming in not knowing the players, I've tried to sign 2 or 3 of the players. I know every player probably bar maybe 2, so that's important. And I think what's important is I know the league. I've worked in the league for 9 years, and going forward, I know what types of players do well in the league. And the added benefit from me in that point of view is I've got James, to help me with recruitment, because recruitment at St Johnstone was just solely down to me. There was no infrastructure for me to fall back on and have that support. So that's going to be a good thing for me, to relieve the pressure on me a little bit and help me. But I think at this stage of season, you could say it was a quality that helped me get the job, and the fact that I do know the league, because it would be a big risk to put somebody in that doesn't know the league and maybe hasn't worked in the league for a number of years.
And was there part of that challenge that Kilmarnock are facing just now that attracted you to this role?
Well, I've never, if you look at all the jobs I've got, you get jobs in football. Very rarely do you get a job in football when a team's doing well. Small percentage of managers, get those jobs. My first job was Limavady. I hadn't won in 7 league games. We're bottom of the table and with I think 1 point. Ballymena was a decent job to get in terms of the times of where it was. Distillery were not 1 in 10, lost first 10 games, and St Johnstone was fortunate in that I was in house and was part of the part of the team that got 6th and 3rd place. So I knew the players, so that was a wee bit slightly different. And Kilmarnock are have been on a poor run and at the wrong end of the table. So I've never ducked a challenge, and it is a challenge, but it's one that I'm looking forward to, and it's one that I'm going to relish. The medium to long term challenge is, with so many players out of contract, is revitalise the squad with players that we're going to keep, and also players coming in, and also the younger players at the club, give them opportunity, and then to build a team. It could be said that the squad is at a stage where it is ready, for a rebuild, and I've had experience doing that. I rebuilt 2 squads at Newcastle or at St Johnstone. The last one was, taking a squad that with an average age of 31 down to an average age of 23, 24. So I'm looking forward to that challenges, and it's something that, I've been involved in. I've been fortunate to be involved in football now for professionally for 30 odd years. It's in my blood, and at this stage of my career, those are the sort of challenges, I like and I thrive on.
Tommy, you mentioned working with James will be good for you. It seems that the talks with James Fowler and Billy Bowie and the board went really quickly and smoothly. Yeah. Is that a really important thing that you hit it off right away with them, and that gives you a real platform to build on as well?
Yes, I think so. I think it's important. I've always had feel it's important you work with people that you trust and you can feel you can trust. And there was a very, I thought it was very open on both sides. I mean, I was fortunate to work with with Steve Brown, and we had always a good working relationship. I spoke to Billy and James about that it's, I'll always be open and frank with them, but I also expect them to be open and frank with me. And that's the way I work, because honesty, I believe, is a quality that is sometimes abused in football, and it's important that when you're working with people that you can trust them. And even in a short period of time that I've known the people at the club and people have spoken to about them, that's what I'm going to get from them.
What have you missed most on your time out of the game, just about football and being involved in it?
Speaking to you, Gal. What have I missed most? Do you want me to be perfectly honest? I genuinely haven't missed it, because I knew I'd made the right decision. I mean, the early days, it was great. I suppose I miss the interaction with the players. That would be the biggest thing. I've always felt that man management was something that helped me get success, and the interaction with players. And I never, contrary to what 1 or 2 players at St Johnstone always thought I had 1 or 2 sons up there, that I got too close to them. I never. It's got as close as I need it to be. to get the best out of them. So I miss that, and I miss, you know, I do miss, I did miss the interaction with the players.
Tommy, can I ask you, just when you look at the way that the games remaining work out, 6 obviously before the split, but your record after the split is very good in matches like that. I mean, you consider that Killy's 7 league wins this season, the majority of those have come against the sides at the bottom. Does that give you confidence?
Yeah, it does. But I want to make sure that we improve, that we can pick up points of the teams that we've got, you know, in the top 6 as well. But it does give me confidence. And again, it was something I'd spoken to Billy about and James about, was that I know how to manage those. I feel that, you know, I know how to get the best out of the players in those, you know, pressure situations. And, you know, we always finished really strong. And it's not only just about picking the right tactics or getting the right teams. It's like, it's sometimes less is more when it comes to that stage of the season. And I always felt that we finished the season strongly because we'd managed the players well in terms of their workload. And, you know, and it was something that we were always careful of. And it may sound strange, they might get an extra day or 2 off, but you know, when that might sound strange in the situation that we're in, but the flip side of that is, I think if you can keep players fresh and strong, there's a time to just maybe come off the train a little bit so that you can finish strongly.
What about for your first team selection? How are you off with regards injuries? Any players coming back? The likes of Broadfoot, Finlay, what's their situation?
Broadfoot, Finlay are still out. Waters is still out. Danny Rogers is still out, and Dickamona's fit. So there hasn't been much change in the injuries. We didn't pick up any fresh injuries, you know, at the weekend. And you know, I'm happy with the numbers, and I'm happy with the quality of squad I've got to pick. You know, I can't see any of those outfield players. Danny Rogers will be back Thursday, but I can't see any of those outfield players being fit for Saturday either, and possibly Aberdeen as well. So it's hopefully we don't pick up injuries, but I'm happy enough with what we've got and the quality and number of players that we can pick from.
What do you make of Motherwell at the moment?
Yeah, they've had a bounce. They've always had a good squad. They have got a lot of quality. You know, the 3 up front can be a handful for teams. You know, so it's hopefully we can give them a night that they're worrying, you know, more about us than what we are about them. It's up to us. We're at home. We're going to try and play in the front foot. You know, we have encouraged the players that it's important that we take the game to teams and make sure that we can stamp our own style and authority on games.